Hi everyone, it's Adam Coburn here at Low & Co. Thanks for checking in today. And today we're looking at the Wellington Market data for the real estate market, of course, for the month of August 2022, comparing to the last couple of years. Continues to be pretty interesting times out there. I reckon Wellington is probably now in the trough. It doesn't look like we're going to have any more continued sort of sustained falls from here, or if there are any, it will be likely to be minimal. At least that's what the trends look like. So are we in the trough right now? My message to buyers continues to be getting amongst it. I don't think it's getting any better than this. So let's get into the detail. Looking now at median sale price. August 2022, $780,000 versus $860,000 a year ago in August 2021. That's down 9%, and you can see there in the blue bar chart, very, very clearly dropping off since right at the start of 2022, and we're back at the same level as we were sort of late-ish 2020. So certainly a real steep decline there in median sale prices over the last for the most part, for the whole of this year, really, so far. So it's quite a significant drop-off there. As you will know, if you follow these videos, I don't really like the median sale price as an indicator. We prefer to look at the Real Estate Institute House Price Index. So let's now turn our attention to that. So you see here for the Wellington Market, fallen by 3.6% again in the month of August. Obviously from month to month it does bounce around a little bit, so I prefer to look at the 3-month result there, and down 7.4%. Now in 3 months, 7.4%, still quite a significant drop. But if you look at the blue and the orange graphs there, you'll see there the 3-month average, which is the orange graph, and that is showing that we are beyond the steepest parts of the fall. So the last couple of months, we've had 3 months price or value drops of about sort of 6 or 7%, whereas 2 months prior to that we were down by nearly 10%. So it seems we are past the steepest part of the price drops. Interestingly, also, if you look at the difference between Wellington City versus Porirua Upper and Lower Hutt, so for the last 3 to 6 months or so, I've been commenting that Wellington City has been falling faster than the territorial authorities outside of the city itself, but still in Wellington region. So Porirua, Upper Hutt, Lower Hutt. Wellington City's been falling faster and steeper, and the other 3 locations have been falling slower. Well, that has now been caught up. So Wellington City over the last 3 months fallen in value by 5.9% versus Porirua at 9.5, Upper Hutt 7.8, Lower Hutt 8.4. So these locations have largely caught up with Wellington. So all 4 of these locations in the Wellington region over the last year have now fallen between 18 and 24%. 18 and 20%, beg your pardon. So Wellington came out of the gates earliest. It led the charge with the steepest falls, but the other 3 locations have followed suit, while the city itself has been broadly level, interestingly, broadly level for the last 3 months or so. So no value falls by the Real Estate Institute House Price Index in the city itself over the last 3 months, whereas Porirua, Upper Hutt and Lower Hutt have now caught up, so they're all about at the same level over the last year. So very interesting to see if those areas also see a bit of plateauing now in the coming few months. Obviously time will tell. Very interesting, very difficult to call these things. But it does look like the steep price falls are over, and especially in Wellington City. Now let's look at the supply side of things, so the number of new listings coming out in the month. So we saw 510 in the past month, August 2022, versus 439 last year and 626 the year before. So look, we're 16% up over a year ago and 19% down over 2 years ago. So this is bouncing around a bit, interesting. So we certainly have seen a bit of an increase in new listings compared to a year ago, but compared to the complete madness that we were seeing coming out of COVID lockdowns, we're significantly down on that. So very difficult to call. But if you look at the 6-month moving average, that's the red line there. So on average over the last 6 months, 653 new listings a month versus 612 for the same 6-month period in 2021. So that's only an increase of 7%. So Are we seeing more listings than a year ago on average in the last 6 months? Yes, but not by an enormous margin, only 7% increase. So there certainly isn't overall some massive rush of new listings coming to the market. Vendors are not panicking or in en masse on forced sales. So it's really quite a controlled, measured kind of an increase compared to a year ago on the supply side of things. And this might be frustrating some buyers out there who are hoping to see a lot of new listings come to the market. So again, if you look at that red line, you'll see that in terms of new listings, we're really in a really quite a overall normal kind of a range. We typically see between 600 and 800 new listings coming to the market in Wellington on a 6-month moving average basis per month, and we're right in that range at 653 for the last 6 months. So broadly speaking, a small increase, I should say, in the number of new listings, but not by any great margin. In terms of number of sales taking place, 515 in August this year versus 532 a year ago, 778 2 years ago. Again, the 2-year result, things were going absolutely crazy back in August 2020, so that was an unusually high number of sales. But if you compare it to just 12 months ago, a 3% drop. So we have been typically seeing throughout this year anywhere up to sort of 35 or even 40% fewer sales taking place. Down now only by 3% in the month of August compared to a year ago. So this is really sale volumes going back to normal. On the 6-month average basis, you see there we are 27% down compared to last year over the last 6 months. That's still a significant drop, but it's not the 30%, the 35% that we have been seeing earlier in the year. So interesting, this one. It's not totally conclusive. That August result, very interesting, compared to last year, about the same number. But I think we need a couple more months to be really clear that indeed the number of sales are returning to normal levels. Again, if you look at the shape of that red line, the 6-month moving average there, over the last 4 months or so, it has been bouncing around that early to mid 500s. So we have not seen, we might have seen the bottom in terms of the volume of sales taking place. And so if so, again, that's good news for the sellers out there. We might have seen the bottom of it, and we might have seen the trough. How long does it take to sell a property? Look, it's still a long time, folks. 59 days in August compared to 34 a year ago and 29 2 years ago. It's not the highs that we saw last month, in July. That was 61 days. So perhaps we've seen the worst of it, and perhaps this is as long as it's going to take. So perhaps we're through the worst of it, and from here on out, it doesn't get any worse, possibly better. Time will tell. Inventory, how many weeks worth of supply have we got in the market? So 20 weeks for August versus 5 a year ago and 6 2 years ago. So on that 12-month comparison, that is extreme still. But again, if you look at the blue bar chart there, you'll see over the last 5 months, we've been bouncing roughly at around 20 weeks worth of supply. There's no trend up. There's no trend down. We did have one outlier in July at 24 weeks. But again, all 4 other months are around that 20 weeks worth of supply. So ignoring that one outlier of July, it looks as if inventory has plateaued at around that 20-week mark. Again, perhaps this is the worst of it. We've seen the worst of it, and perhaps it doesn't get any worse from now. Maybe better. Again, time will tell. TradeMe listings in September, as of a few days ago, 2526. TradeMe listings in Wellington region versus 1161. That's a 118% increase from 2021, and 1272. That's a 99% increase from September 2020. Now, once again, same old story we've been seeing for the last 8 or 10 months or so. This is big increases compared to 12 months ago, but this is less of a big increase than we've seen for the last 3 or 4 months. We were up to 160, 170% higher than 12 months previously, and we're now down to 118%. So the massive increase over 12 months ago has been decreasing. And again, you can see that clearly from the shape of those graphs there. Over the last 6 months or so, the blue bar chart shows significantly dropping numbers. Now, partly that will be just because we've been entering into spring, but again, we've gone from 160 or so percent over where we were 12 months prior down to 118%. Now, also, about a year ago, we started seeing listing volumes on TradeMe increasing. So up to now, we've been comparing the number on TradeMe to a very low base from 12 months ago. Next month, the 12-month ago figure will be starting to rise, so we'll be comparing it to a base that is not quite as low. So again, we should start to see these numbers coming back under 100% perhaps over the next few months or so. So again, it'll be interesting to see. The big question in my mind is, what will spring do? Will spring bring a rush of new listings to the market, and will that see that curve go back upwards again? We certainly haven't seen any significant spring rush or spring lift in listing volumes yet, so it seems to be somewhat delayed, but time will tell to see what happens there. So yeah, possibly we might have turned the corner on the gross number of listings on TradeMe. So in summary, folks, Wellington values do seem to be stabilising, and in particular in the city, they seem to have been quite stable over the last few months. Listing volumes also appear to be back to normal type of levels, normalising. Sales volumes still down but plateauing. It appears we're probably through the worst of it there. Duration to sell is still long at 59 days, but again, it seems there's no increase over the last couple of months, so we might be through the worst of it on that front. Inventory is still very high, but stable-ish over the last 5 months or so. TradeMe listings also high, but they seem to have peaked and are now coming on the way back down again, but it will be interesting to see if spring brings a whole lot of new listings there. My message to buyers continues to be, take advantage of these conditions while you can. It doesn't look like it's going to get any better. This looks like it is likely to be the best it's going to get. We may well have hit the trough in Wellington. Thanks for checking in. This is Adam at Low & Co. If you need any advice or an appraisal or whatever, you know where to find me. Thanks for checking in. See you next time.